I was afraid you were going to say that. I don't have the my file on that, but let me try to do that. I think I know this issue fairly well. This is the equal pay for equal jobs, something that is long overdue. This bill will close that gap. We now see women making 84 cents for every dollar that men make. For women of color, it's 58 cents for African-American women and 44 cents for Latinas. And we have been working very closely with the Chamber of Commerce and the Civil Justice Association of California, who I believe at this point we have come to an agreement, just knocking out those last few little items. This is not a matter that will bring great cost to the state. I think your analysis indicates minimal cost to with the Department of Industrial Relations. This is long overdue. We are inches away from making it happen, and again, I've appreciated the hard work of all the stakeholders and would ask that this matter be sent to the floor.
Thank you. Witnesses in support of the measure.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Mariko Yoshihara with the California Employment Lawyers Association. We're co-sponsoring this bill with the Equal Rights Advocates and Legal Aid Society Employment Law Center. All three of our organizations help provide legal assistance to workers who have not been paid fair wages, and we know that the existing Equal Pay Act is not sufficient to ensure fair wages and close the gender wage gap. So this addresses those main barriers to effective enforcement, the loopholes, outdated terminology in the existing Equal Pay Act, and the lack of information and the culture of pay secrecy that prevents workers from unearthing these unfair pay differentials. So we believe these changes are much needed, and we strongly urge your support.
Thank you. Additional witnesses in support.
Shannon Smith Crowley, representing the American Association of University Women for California. We're in support. Ask for your aye vote.
Thank you.
Mitch Seaman with the California Labor Federation, also in support.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, Megan Brightwell on behalf of the California Professional Firefighters in support.
In between, Mr. Chair, Chris McKaylee on behalf of the Civil Justice Association in California. We don't raise any fiscal concerns. We're trying to resolve the remaining policy concerns with the author, and thank her and her staff for doing so.
Thank you. Additional witnesses in support. Witnesses in opposition to the measure. Comments or committees, comments or questions from the committee. Senator Leyva.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning. I just want to thank the author, Senator Jackson, for bringing this forward. I think it's long overdue, and I think it's amazing that we're here in the year 2015 and this is still an issue for women. And I think that if this bill not only passes the Senate and the Assembly and the governor signs it, it may help with some pay issues of inequality that are here in the Capitol. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I'll take that as a motion by Senator Leyva. Secretary, please call the roll.
The motion is due pass to the Senate floor. Laura?
Aye.
Laura, aye. Bates? Bell? Bell, aye. Hill? Hill, aye. Leyva? Leyva, aye. Mendoza? Nielsen?
Thank you. We'll keep that item open to allow other members to add on. Senator Jackson, your next item is SB 180. It's a candidate for suspense.
That is correct, and
You may proceed.
I appreciate the opportunity. I know there's some opposition here, so I felt it appropriate to discuss a few of the items here. I wanted to make sure that you have a factual basis of what this measure aims to accomplish before you hear from them. In line with the governor's and our environmental goals, SB 180 creates new emissions performance standards that limit the amount of carbon dioxide power plants may emit. This is a tried and true policy. In 2006, Senator Parada authored SB 1368, which established the emissions performance standard for baseload power plants, which are plants that run at 60% capacity or greater. It has been an effective tool at eliminating coal from California's energy portfolio, which is what it was specifically designed to do. This measure, SB 180, creates two new emission performance standards, one for peaking generation and another for non-peaking generation, in order to bring all power plants under this successful policy. The committee analysis raises a number of costs associated with it, but when we consider balancing, which we should, the costs against the costs of inaction. More carbon dioxide means more climate change, and that is even more expensive when you think about air and water quality issues. I'm working on amendments while the bill is on suspense that will further reduce the cost to the extent we can. Again, this is a measure that's very consistent with the governor's goals, and I think will encourage the uses of the latest technologies as they develop, which is the purpose here. You know, I think back to what a computer looked like 5 years ago, what a watch looked like 5 years ago. And with the incredible advances of technology, we feel that this is a very important tool in the toolbox to bring us to the standards that we seek, these aggressive standards that we are attempting to achieve. With that, I would I have a witness, Kyle Jones, with the Sierra Club to give us a little bit more on the costs of inaction. And I thank you for your consideration, and at the appropriate time, I would respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. Witnesses in support.
Good morning, Kyle Jones with Sierra Club, California, in support of SB 180. SB 180 works to combat climate change, which will in the future cause poor public health, decreased water and air quality, and significant impacts to both the environment and agriculture. While SB 180 does have initial costs, those are only a fraction of the savings that we will receive when we reduce carbon dioxide and combat climate change. For example, the less we have climate changing impact in California, the less money the state will have to spend fighting the spread of diseases such as West Nile virus, the less money the state will have to spend combating bad air and its numerous health effects, and the less money the state will have to spend on firefighting costs, infrastructure rebuilding, and other heat-related costs. We urge your support for SB 180 and ask for your aye vote when the time comes.
Thank you. Additional witnesses in support, please come forward.
Thank you, Chair and members. Katrina Robinson on behalf of Ada Gen in support.
Thank you. Additional witnesses in support of the measure. Witnesses in opposition, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. My name is Gil Topidi. I represent the California Municipal Utilities Association in opposition to the bill. We oppose the bill not only because the analysis has pointed out over $1 million a year in future costs, but as publicly owned utilities, we generally tend to own these assets. So we would own the non-peaking, and we definitely own the peaking plants where others contract with them. And so there's a tremendous cost pressure and an uncertainty and additional cost risk added to the bill, because even without the bill, there's already federal emissions requirements and local air district requirements that impose a new source review that then develops best available control technologies. So every time we upgrade our facilities, they're added with the latest and greatest emissions control systems that are already available. So the uncertainty comes into play here, where if we've got facilities that are just a few years old or even 10 years old, it takes a bit of time to plan a power plant. And in planning the power plant, you got to consider the cost for the fuel of a natural gas power plant. You also have to consider the maintenance. But if a plant that's only 9 years old that we financed for $500 million should now be subject to a new emissions performance standard that could happen conceivably every 5 years with it getting lowered, what financial institution is going to back the risks that a locally owned utility has to make these investments with prior to the bill with an envisionment of the life of this product might be 20 to 30 years. Now conceivably a $5 million repair, or every 5 or 10 years, we could be subject to a $100 to $200 million upgrade. We just think that's a tremendous risk that shouldn't be borne on the public utilities when there's already a multitude of environmental policies that require us to reduce our emissions. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Amber Blix with the Independent Energy Producers Association, also in opposition to SB 180. SB 180 creates an expensive regulatory program for both government and the private sector with not a lot of demonstrable benefits. Given that the state has already, indicated a preference for multiple programs and policies to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, including the existing emissions performance standard and the existing cap and trade program, we think that the costs imposed in SB 180 are duplicative and necessary. So mainly the point for us is that the state is potentially spending millions of dollars to create a duplicative program that doesn't create a lot of added benefit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Matt Klopfenstein with the Sacramento Municipal Utility District and the Southern California Public Power Authority. We echo the comments of CMUA and are in opposition. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members, Brett Barrow with MSR Public Power Agency. We also echo the comments of CMUA and are in opposition to the bill.
Thank you.
Amy Mago on behalf of the California Chamber of Commerce in opposition.
Good morning. Jesus Arredondo on behalf of the Western Power Trading Forum and our over 80 members, companies including renewable developers and natural gas developers. One additional thing to mention is that the bill could put in jeopardy some of the facilities that are going through the permitting process right now. It creates added uncertainty for the financing of those projects, and that's state of the art already. We have what the author is seeking is already in place. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair and members, Bruce Mignani on behalf of the California Cogeneration Council and CLECA, California Large Energy Consumers Association. For all the reasons stated, we're opposed to the measure.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Michael Shaw, California Manufacturers and Technology Association, opposed to SB 180. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional witnesses in opposition. Comments or questions from the committee? Seeing none, Senator Jackson, would you like to close?
Yeah, you know, sometimes when you get that kind of opposition, you know you're doing something right. So I want to thank those folks who are opposed to this and clarify a couple things that should assuage, well, should, maybe won't, but should assuage them. First of all, we have amendments on suspense that will clarify the grandfathering of plants. So the goal here isn't to make you upgrade until you're ready to upgrade. And then if you're going to upgrade, we want you to upgrade to the highest technologies that are available, which I think makes sense because that will help reduce the greenhouse gases. So that will eliminate costs to the publicly owned utilities. The point that this is a duplication, while cap and trade does focus on reducing carbon emissions, it doesn't provide the long-term innovation, which is the incentives that we're creating here. So if a power plant now faces two choices, one, to make an investment that's going to reduce greenhouse gases in the long run versus a minimal investment over the short term, their inclination is to do that short term. That doesn't get us to where we need to go. So I would indicate to you that countries like Great Britain have recognized that although cap and trade encourages, as was mentioned, well, we have cap and trade, although it encourages sellers to decrease emissions below the levels of the cap, trading doesn't encourage buyers of credits to decrease their emissions. An across-the-board emissions performance standard, which we're recommending here, requires all facilities to comply equally, thus providing an incentive for the industry to invest. And I will tell you that in Great Britain, they have all three of these different programs, so obviously they're not duplicative. And what we need to do is add this kind of a program in order to meet the very aggressive standards that we are trying to set for ourselves going forward. So with that, at the appropriate time, I would ask that this matter come off suspense. It's an investment, I think, well worth the cost.
Thank you, Senator Jackson. Without objection, we'll move this bill to the suspense.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair and members.
Thank you. Senator Bates, I know your witnesses are here now. If it'll be okay, we can have them come up. If we can have the witnesses in support of Senator Bates' SB 257, please come forward. I know you weren't here when she presented the bill, but when I give you an opportunity to say a few words in support of the measure. First.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members.
Go ahead.
My name is Mike Anderson. I'm a Gold Star father. I was involved with both the original Gold Star license plate bills with both then Senators Dinniman, Cogdill, SB 287 and SB 1455 back in 2008. Currently, Senate Bill 257 is a simple, straightforward bill that authorizes the personalization of Gold Star family license plates with an optional fee paid by the family members. Although there will be some upfront costs associated with this new program, the amendments that Senator Bates plans to take to SB 257 will reduce the amount of time it will take to recover the implementation costs. As a father of a son lost in battle while serving to protect our country, I am comfortable paying the optional fee for this plate. My only son, Corporal Michael D. Anderson, Jr., a United States Marine, unselfishly gave his young life clearing houses in Fallujah, Iraq in 2004. Killed in combat action by a bullet that pierced his heart. He was born and raised here in California. As a Gold Star family member, I am willing to pay this premium based on the ultimate sacrifice that my son paid to this great country. Members, yes, this legislation will cost the state some money initially. However, to families of those that have lost their lives serving our country abroad is a small amount to pay to allow for families to remember our loved ones and honor them via the personalized California license plate. With Memorial Day just 1 week from today, know that for some of us, Memorial Day is every day. I respectfully ask for your support in removing SB 257 from suspense and allow families like mine to personalize their Gold Star family license plates in honor of the ultimate sacrifice paid by our sons and our daughters. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional witnesses in support.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members. I'd like to thank you for allowing us time and an opportunity to speak this morning. My name is Brent Layton. I am also a Gold Star father. My son was James Ray Doc Layton, Navy Corpsman, killed in action on September 8, 2009. Some of you may be familiar with the Battle of Gonzagal. Both Dakota Meyer and Captain Swenson received the Medal of Honor. They were teammates of my son. I'd like to thank Senator Bates for introducing Senate Bill 257. In regarding the Gold Star license plate, it's been something that we've been looking forward to be able to personalize it. Unfortunately, not many people know what the Gold Star family is and the license plate, but since it's been introduced, it opens up a dialect with people, and it also helps us heal as we discuss it. Personalizing it even opens more of an opportunity for people to know, and we'd like to get the word out of these brave men and women. I do realize there's a $420,000 price tag, but I would argue that there's no price tag for the loss of my son and other men and women that have served overseas. And I am also more than willing to pay the associated fee with SB 257 in order to receive the personalization for the tags. I currently have one Gold Star family plate and would like the opportunity to be able to, share my son as well as other people know what he did. I respectfully ask your support in removing SB 257 from suspense and allowing families like mine to personalize their Gold Star family license plate in honor of the ultimate sacrifice paid for by the men and women that serve this country. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. I just want to take a second to thank you both for being here. Sorry for your loss. And thank your two sons for their service to our country. Appreciate your time. Any other comments or questions from the committee? Thank you. Next, we have Senator Mitchell. Senator Mitchell, you have two items, SB 289 and 402. My understanding is you're waiving presentation on item 289?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Let's then begin with SB 402. The floor is yours.
Happy Monday. Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. SB 402 will require students entering elementary schools to get a comprehensive eye exam by a physician optometrist or ophthalmologist. This bill also clarifies that comprehensive vision exams should include critical evaluations that can catch serious eye problems in pupils. A routine eye examination is a preventative service that can detect and treat conditions that could cost the healthcare system more money downstream if left undiagnosed, as well as impacts the child's school performance. The committee analysis cites concerns about the potential cost of the Medi-Cal system and assumes an increased 10% utilization rate among students. However, a comprehensive eye exam is already covered under the Affordable Care Act and Medi-Cal. This bill simply says the examination should occur prior to school enrollment. Secondly, I'd also like to make a quick correction. The bill was amended in Policy Committee to remove the requirement that students receive an eye exam every other year. It now requires examination either prior to enrollment and limits checkups to occur twice before the 8th grade. This will also help reduce costs to the bill. Finally, the analysis cites potential out-of-pocket costs to families because they'd be required to complete a comprehensive eye exam. Would like to remind the committee that the bill was amended in Senate Education to account for those families who cannot obtain a comprehensive examination. If, for whatever reason, the family cannot obtain an examination for their child, the bill does not penalize children or their families. The bill keeps the existing school vision screening program under existing law so that students are still able to receive an assessment. Detecting vision problems early through more comprehensive exams will ensure that every child has the same opportunity and potential to learn. We've been meeting with a number of key stakeholders on this bill, including the School Nurses Organization, Kaiser, CMA, and we appreciate their commitment to continue to work as we try to move this bill through the suspense calendar. I have two witnesses with me here today who will focus their comments on the fiscal aspect of the bill. Mr. Chairman, I have heard your desires loud and clear. First, Dr. Glenn Kawaguchi, who's a practicing optometrist, and he's representing the California State Board of Optometry. And secondly, Terry McHale, representing the California Optometric Association.
Thank you. Go ahead, Doctor.
Thank you. Glenn Kawaguchi, optometrist practicing in Ventura, California, also the member of the board as mentioned. I do want to give a little bit background.
Very little.
80% of a child's learning is visual, and 42% of preschoolers assessed through a comprehensive eye exam performed by an eye care professional had a significant eye or vision problem. According to the Centers for Disease Control, 33% of our children that pass vision screenings have a significant vision, binocular, or eye health problem. So this bill does seek to narrow that gap of that 33% that are slipping through the cracks through a comprehensive eye exam that would include testing for eye teaming, focusing, refraction for prescription, and thorough eye health evaluations. It also seeks to maintain the screenings that are currently in place through the school nurses and pediatricians. Those, along with teachers and parents, are critical, making sure that kids don't slip through the cracks. The Vision Council of America commissioned a study to identify the cost effectiveness of providing comprehensive eye examinations to all preschool-age children and found that eye examinations would detect, treat, and cure significantly more cases of amblyopia in children than a universal vision screening program. It also found that universal comprehensive eye examination programs would be highly cost-effective and produce a greater return on investment than many other healthcare interventions. SB 402 is much like existing law, suggesting school-age children receive dental examinations. Eye examinations and glasses are covered under the Affordable Care Act. While the intent of SB 402 is to encourage eye examinations for all children, parents do have that opt-out option. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. McHale.
Mr. Chairman, Terry McHale with Aaron Reed and Associates representing the California Optometric Association. The California State Senate felt so strongly about this issue 9 years ago that they did a study to talk about the economic advantages of these kinds of examinations for children. And one of the most prescient findings of that study was that a large group of minority children and children in the inner cities would have coverage, but for some reason were not being given access to it. This legislation puts in the safeguards of the schools. It's great for the kids. The $6 million price tag is a decimal point in the budget, especially when you look at the newspaper today and realize that 338 dentists charge Denti-Cal $118 million. So the $6 million has great control, it's cost effective, it makes a difference in the lives of kids who need it the most. So please vote aye. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional witnesses in support of this item? Witnesses in opposition? Comments or questions from the committee? Senator Bell.
I was kind of puzzled by this Medi-Cal comment because in our county, all the managed healthcare programs in Medi-Cal do eye examinations for all the kids, so already done. So I don't know what the cost number is. That the issue you're raising?
We can have Senator Mitchell. We can have Senator Mitchell.
I think most people, the managed care plans do eye exams. Right.
And thank you, Senator Bell, and I think that's why we challenge the 10% uptake assumption. I don't know that we know what the uptake is. You know, and really the meat of the bill is really a policy issue in terms of making sure that even though they have access through Medi-Cal or whatever their care is, making sure that there are checkpoints along the process through the public education system, that kids are being seen, that it is required, just to make sure that fewer and fewer children slip through the cracks.
Thank you. We'll take that as your close. Senator Mitchell, and with that, we'll move this bill to suspense.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
I'm going to take a second to pass over the gavel to our vice chair. I'm going to be presenting Senator De Leon's SB 297 and my item. Madam Vice Chair, I have two items, SB 482, which is mine, and SB 295. So I'll do the pro tems bill first. Madam Chair and members, I'm presenting pro tems SB 295, which is a technical cleanup bill for the College Access Tax Credit Program established last year by legislation he authored. The program authorizes the state tax credit equal to 60% of charitable contributions to the College Access Tax Credit Fund in 2004, declining to 55% tax credit in 2015 and 50% credit in 2016. The program is administered by the California Educational Facilities Authority within the State Treasurer's Office. This program essentially allows the state to monetize a federal tax deduction on charitable contributions by allowing taxpayers a large tax credit for charitable contributions to the College Access Tax Credit Fund. This program requires a general fund revenue loss from the College Access Tax Credits to be fully offsetted by the charitable contributions to the College Access Tax Credit Fund. There is no general fund impact. After reimbursing the general fund and covering administrative costs, the remaining charitable contributions to the fund are to be allocated to the California Student Aid Commission under the Cal Grant B programs as supplemental grants. Respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition, come forward. None. Committee comments? We have a motion. Please call the roll.
Motion is due pass to the Senate floor. Laura?
Aye.
Laura, aye. Bates?
Aye.
Bates, aye. Bell? Bell, aye. Hill? Hill, aye. Leyva? Leyva, aye. Mendoza? Mendoza, aye. Nielsen?
Vote 6-0, it goes on call.
Thank you. Next, Madam Chair, I will present my SB 482, which will require prescribers issuing Schedule 2 and 3 drugs to consult California's Controlled Substance Utilization Review and Evaluation Systems, known as CURES, before prescribing. The CURE system upon update will be complete in July and will be able to accommodate the increase in users without further state resources. The licensing boards for the various prescribers who will be required to use the system have indicated costs to implement the policy will be minor. Prescription drug overdose claims tens of thousands of lives every year. We have a system in place. It's time to implement a policy that has proven successful across the country and require providers to consult the CURE system before prescribing. I respectfully ask for your aye votes.
Witnesses in support?
Tim Yarian on behalf of the sponsors of California Narcotics Officers Association, also on behalf of the Association for Los Angeles Deputy Sheriffs, the Los Angeles Police Protective League, Riverside Sheriff's Association, the California Association of Code Enforcement Officers, the California College of University Police Chiefs Association, and the California Correctional Supervisors Association. As Zenner said, this is an important measure. It will help save lives. It will help deal with the problem of doctor shopping. We urge your aye vote. There's negligible cost with this bill.
Morning, Jennifer Simoes with the Medical Board of California. The board has a support position. We're just working with the author's office on some amendments related to the DOJ certification, and we respectfully request your aye vote. Thank you.
Jacqueline Serna on behalf of the Consumer Attorneys of California. We're in strong support and one of the co-sponsors of the measure. Thank you.
Barry Broad on behalf of the Teamsters. The issue of opioid addiction is becoming a major problem for people with workers' comp injuries. They're being handed a lot of opioids. They're becoming addicts. They start to do doctor shopping. It's now opioid prescriptions is the #1 source of drugs for drug addicts, opioid addicts in the country. It's replaced street dealers. So it's a major issue in our society. We need to confront this. Doctors need to check this database so that they can see whether someone, was it another doctor last week and a different doctor the week before, and get these people into treatment. We urge an aye vote.
Additional witnesses in support?
Ignacio Hernandez on behalf of the Consumer Watchdog and also on behalf of the Consumer Federation of California in support.
Thank you. Mira Morton here on behalf of the California Chamber of Commerce, also pleased to support this measure.
Witnesses in opposition come forward.
Good morning, Alicia Sanchez on behalf of the California Medical Association. Majority of our opposition is based on policy reasons. We joined the author in wanting to address the prescription drug abuse issues, but we don't think that this is the right approach, and would point out that we believe that there are costs associated with this bill that were not reflected in the analysis. The bill establishes a new threshold for looking at appropriate prescribing of controlled substances, which increases the physician's liability and, of course, then lends itself to lawsuits, which has a cost for the courts. And we urge your no vote today.
Madam Chair, members, Tim Madden representing the California chapter of the American College of Emergency Physicians. In opposition, our position is largely based on the policy around the bill and not necessarily on the fiscal, so we'll reserve our comments for future discussion with the author.
Additional witnesses in opposition come forward? There are none. Committee comments? We have a motion. Would you like to close?
Just respectfully ask for your eye vote on this important
I would like
issue.
to note that I have reservations on this policy issue, so I'm going to continue opposition, but I know you're working on a number of those, Senator Lara,
Absolutely.
so I respect that.
Thank you.
Call the roll, please.
The motion is due pass to the Senate floor. Lara?
Aye.
Lara, aye. Bates?
No.
Bates, no. Bell? Bell, aye. Hill? Hill, aye. Leyva? Leyva, aye. Mendoza? Mendoza, aye. Nielsen.
It's 5-1. That bill is on call. Thank you, Senator Lara. Thank you. You may have the gavel back, gladly.
We have any additional members? Oh, Senator Mendoza. Snuck in. Senator Mendoza, you have 4 items, one of which is due pass, SB 270. And from my understanding, you're waiving presentation on SB 329 and SB 760, correct?
That's correct.
Perfect. Let's start with your due pass item, which is SB 270. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, I'm here to present SB 270, which defines the manner in which the California Court Reporters Board can issue fines or injunctions for actions in violation of the Court Reporters Board's professional and ethical rules for certified shorthand reporters, which strengthens the authority of the Court Reporters Board to regulate or prevent unlicensed individuals and corporations from unlawfully rendering court services in California. As stated in your analysis, the enforcement costs will be mitigated by potential penalty revenues and by the amounts awarded by the courts. In addition, the Court Reporters Board indicates that any cost to update regulations would be minor and would be absorbed within existing resources.
Thank you. Witnesses in support.
Thank you. Ignacio Hernandez on behalf of the California Court Reporters Association. We are the sponsors of the bill. This bill, which has passed 2 policy committees, creates a very narrow authority of the Court Reporter Board to pursue injunctive relief and certain fines and fees on those individuals and entities that are operating outside of California law, whether rendering court reporter services, managing the fees, in a way that may be in violation of professional standards in California. Currently, the Court Reporter Board, there's an argument that they may not have the authority to pursue injunctive relief. We know that these entities make that argument, so we want to create a spot-on, very narrow statute that the Court Reporter Board can turn to and use in these instances. We think all individuals and entities, whether in California or outside, should follow the law. Ask for your support.
Thank you. Additional witnesses in support of the item. Witnesses in opposition. Comments or questions from committee? Bill is moved by Senator Leyva. Secretary, please call the roll.
The motion is due pass to the Senate floor. Lara?
Aye.
Lara, aye. Bates? Bates, aye. Bell? Bell, aye. Hill? Hill, aye. Leyva? Leyva, aye. Mendoza?
Aye.
Mendoza, aye. Nielsen.
We'll hold that bill on call. Senator, you have now SB 648.
Thank you. Members, I'm here. I understand the SB 648 will go on suspense. I appreciate you allowing me to present this briefly on the fiscal aspect of the bill. This is an important senior rights bill, as it not only provides seniors and their families with the information they need to make informed decisions about their long-term care, but also requires an industry in California that is currently operating without any oversight to be licensed. I understand that the Department of Public Health has estimated a cost of about $2.5 million over the next 2 years for this bill. However, licensing fees from referral agencies will offset some, if not all, the administrative costs that the department has suggested. On the analysis, you'll notice it refers to at least 2,000 such agencies statewide. If these facilities were to pay $2,000 each, which I believe will be the case, if not more, we could easily raise over $4 million that will cover the cost of what is projected. I look forward to working with you and the committee staff on solutions to lower the cost during the suspense process.
Thank you, Senator Mendoza. Witnesses in support.
Good afternoon, Morgan Carvajal with the Hernandez Strategy Group on behalf of the sponsors, the Consumer Federation of California. This is an important consumer protection bill. And while we understand it's going to suspense, we're looking forward to working with the committee staff and with you to work out some of those costs and lower some of those costs that the department has foreseen. As the senator said, we do see that the licensing fees would offset some of those costs and hope we can work that out.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members, Bob Naylor representing Six Beds, Inc. That's an association of small assisted living facilities. We strongly support this bill. Referral agencies are often referring frail seniors that they have not met and know nothing about to facilities that they have not investigated and know nothing about. It's a business that needs to be regulated. We think the costs can be offset, and we have some ideas for strengthening the bill if it moves forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Jerry Gonzalez with AARP and its 3 million members in support.
Thank you. Additional witnesses in support. Witnesses in opposition, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Patrick Shannon, and I represent Caring.com. We're the largest California-based information services company for seniors, and we're located in San Mateo. The Department of Public Health has estimated a fiscal cost of approximately $2.5 million just in the first calendar year of implementation to license senior housing. So it's not a 2-year cost, that's a 1-year cost. 6 months in the first half of the year, 6 months in the second half. But by our calculations, we estimate that's low. Senator Mendoza has offered the fact that there are 1,000 agencies operating in LA alone. That's about 25% of the market. So by extrapolation, that would be 4,000 agencies. So we think the cost will actually be $5 million. Furthermore, the cost will not be absorbed by offsetting fees. This is a startup cost. The Department of Public Health has indicated that in my discussions with them. So fees would be separate to cover ongoing costs. So what we're talking about here is $5 million for 1 year. Now, my question is, what data is there to suggest that there is a statistically significant problem in the industry to justify that exorbitant cost of $5 million? And the proponents don't offer evidence of how many referrals are even being made in California, much less how many problems there have been with any such referrals. They don't offer a record of complaints with the local ombudsman. They don't offer evidence of any complaints with district attorneys. They offer no study of lawsuits. So what is there to justify the ultimate remedy of licensing? Are anecdotes alone enough? What evidence is there that senior housing referral agencies should be singled out for licensure and regulation as compared to all the other referral agencies for social services that are not subject to licensure? Nanny referral agencies are not licensed. Referral agencies to foster homes and group homes are not licensed. If the state is going to get into the business of licensing referral agencies for senior services, what is the rationale for starting with seniors? The proponents say that licensing is already required for referral agencies to skilled nursing, but that's inapropos. Convalescent and nursing homes are medical facilities. They provide medical services, not social services. Nursing homes are in a totally different category that makes the situation more acute and heightens the need for licensure. Still, with that heightened need for skilled nursing, how many enforcement actions have actually been taken against nursing home referral agencies in the past 3 years? We're not aware of any. So if there's scant evidence of a problem with referral agencies for skilled nursing, why replicate that system for residential care? Moreover, the proponents have not shown that the current mechanisms in law are not sufficient to address any problem that does arise. Again, there are 58 ombudsmen in all the counties. There are 58 DAs to which problems can be referred. And there's always the option to sue. And in fact, as you know, seniors are given extra protection under law with elder protection and double penalties under the Enforcement Act. But we haven't seen any lawsuits in that area. So what I'm suggesting is that current mechanisms in law are sufficient, and seniors actually are only the consumer here about 10% of the time. What you should know is that the typical consumer for these kind of referral information are the adult children, the son or the daughter of a senior. So 90% of the time, that's the person who is getting the information from these agencies. So we follow the best practices in the industry. We disclose that our service is free to the consumer and we receive commissions. We post our privacy policies. We get consent to any information sharing. And we have no problem with a bill that codifies that. But licensing and other onerous requirements that impair our ability to conduct business in this state are simply not necessary and not worth the fiscal cost.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Mr. Chair and members, Monica Miller on behalf of A Place for Mom, and we have an opposed unless amended position. We have worked very closely with the sponsor and the author. We'll continue to do so as the bill sits on suspense. We just really believe that this needs to be an internet-friendly bill because that's what A Place for Mom is. When you call, and again, mostly as adult children, you call, you are put in touch with a senior living advisor who knows the community that they're referring to you, has a relationship. A Place for Mom checks twice a year the licensure requirements throughout all 50 states, quite frankly, which is a model that was set up in Washington State when this bill was passed up there. So again, we'll continue to work with the author and the sponsors. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional witnesses in opposition of this measure? Seeing none, comments or questions from the committee? Seeing none, Senator Mendoza, would you like to close?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Some of the concerns were mostly based on I guess, policy issues. There's been several cases, members, people, the industry itself is asking for them to be regulated just because of all the abuses that are going on. So members are respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Chairman Mendoza. Without objection, we move this bill to suspense file.
Thank you.
I see our colleague from La Cañada Flint Ridge, Senator Liu. It appears we have your entire legislative packet.